You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Now, one of our very popular, not contributors, because it sounds like we get him to contribute stuff. No, we just like to have a chat to this man like we do to Greg Evans and Ivan sometimes when we record the thing, and Dick from Muff. And we haven't spoken to Heidi Victoria for a while because it's very hard to get her because she works when we do this. But we'll haven't ignored you, Heidi, if you ever listen to any of this. But very popular person that we speak to on a regular basis is the great Craig Willis. And welcome again, Craig. How are you, my friend?
Sam, it's a great pleasure to be with you on your aquatic adventure, which from the marvellous videos that I have been enjoying during this sojourn of yours on the high seas with Sue Stanley, OAM, looks like it's an unmitigated bloody disaster.
Well, yesterday I thought we were just over the cusp of things that could go wrong. Yesterday, just let me briefly tell you, first of all, the generator ceased to work while we were out at Nara. What is it, Sue?
Nara Inlet.
Nara Inlet, where we went and looked at the indigenous cave paintings of people who were here before us. Don't get me onto that, but it was just very nice and very, very, very enchanting to be there. So the generator ceased to work. I wonder if that was an omen while we were anchored out in the in Nara Inlet. And then the batteries. First of all, when I docked the boat, the remote, the bow thruster and the stern thruster ceased to work. The bow thruster is waiting for a part from Finland, but the stern thruster is a very important part of backing a boat into a space, particularly when there's another boat beside you. So that ceased to. So that was fraught with danger as we backed that in. Then the generator broke, as I told you. The remote control went on the bow thruster, and then we went down into the engine room because we thought we smelt what we thought was rubber.
Yeah,
So,
I thought it was either a rubber, that burning rubber smell or an oil smell,
Yeah.
Craig. Yeah,
Yeah.
just something just didn't smell right. And I found an oil leak, so I thought, that's probably it. But
yes, so I amazingly enough took the rocker cover off one of the engines and saw where the oil leak was. So we're waiting for a what's the name of that word?
a gasket.
A gasket to arrive from Caterpillar.
Don't tell me that's got to come from Finland as
No,
well.
that's got to come from Mackay. So they're sending a gasket down.
Okay.
But then, Craig, we thought the smell, we had a friend there said, I'll tell you what that smell is, that's batteries. The batteries were burning internally. And in fact, you might have noticed the battery set fire to the bottom of the boat. And out we whipped with the the chemical fire extinguisher, which made me look like one of the black and white minstrels. I looked like Casper the Ghost by the time all the dust had settled in the engine room. So the only thing that didn't catch fire was there was a couple of scorch marks on a few things, but I have a heater, it's called a water, what is it called? A water processor, not a processor. Sue, what's it called?
A hot water system.
Water exchanger from, I got a lad called Ahmed. He is the principal of Houdini Plumbing. He put it in the boat. That's the only thing that escaped undamaged. And what a great testimonial to Houdini Plumbing.
We can't do anything else, but we can have hot showers.
Yes, we could have hot showers. Mind you, the system is now a little scorched, but who needs paint on a hot water surface when all you want out of it is hot water? So well done to Houdini Plumbing, who are stars. Ahmed, you're not allowed to call him the boss. He is one of the principals. He gets the brace and bits if you call him a principal, or I would have thought wouldn't matter. We're just speaking about him. But no, he said, no, if you're going to mention me, make sure you get my title right. So there we are. So up yours, Ahmed. But anyhow, very, very good products they are. Have I mentioned that before, Sue, do you think?
But I don't think you really understand,
I'm worried.
Craig. I mean, it was really serious though yesterday. If Mark didn't come down,
this is our friend,
for a cup of coffee and teach us about a ankle bridle,
and then not an ankle. not an ankle.
Anchor.
You said an ankle bridle.
Well, so it might be my cold. I do apologise
like
for
Joe
my
Biden.
pronunciations.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when he smelled it, you could hear the batteries bubbling.
Yeah, they were cooking inside.
And then he's just gone, get the fire extinguisher, and it was just like this. Everyone just jumped into action. He's pulling it out, and Sam's jumping in here, and I'm trying to film it and doing my job.
Yep.
Well, we often hear of these. I can't stand the thing. I know you've got one, and I know you don't charge it on the boat. Is your little scooter, but these e-scooter batteries that seem to explode in people's houses and flats. And when you see the fire, and then there's the forensic, what do they call them, chemists now, I think it is,
Yep.
arson chemists, and they say, yes, it was the battery in the e-scooter or the e-bike.
Yep.
So you've had the boat battery. What's going on with batteries?
And this is what the danger of the electric vehicle industry is, that they seem to work occasionally, the electric vehicles, but there's more cars catch fire, and it's unreported, most of it. They're lithium batteries. They haven't quite come to grips with why they catch fire.
Well, obviously, but I think that most of the things we use these days have lithium batteries. For instance, I have a lot of power tools here that are battery powered, and I look at that, and it might be a Ryobi and it might be a Makita. It will tell me that it's a lithium battery I'm using.
Well, just
no wonder Donna won't let me leave them on charge overnight.
That's right. Should put you on charge overnight.
Yeah, good luck. You know, we talk about the cost of living. Now, this is a true story. Sue, you'll appreciate this. Up at the farm, we're just purely electric. There's no gas or anything like that. So the power bills were for a quarter, up around the $1,500 mark. Right, so we've got to pumps water into the house, and you could equate this to the boat if you like, because it's all electric, or you've got gas. Anyway,
no, I haven't got gas in the boat.
So everything's electric, and I'm getting these bills. So Donna comes into the world and says to me, "Go around and switch the power points on," which we do. Guess what? The power bill, $720.
What? Because you just turn them off at the switch.
Turn them off at the switch.
Is that right?
That is right, and it has apparently, according to her, and I would not doubt it, has saved. The only thing that gives me the irrits is that I sat down last night to turn the television on in the chair, comfortably ensconced as I was, with Rex the Wonder Dog at my feet. No power on the TV because she turned it off with the power point behind it. Scrambling around in the dark. Well, that's bloody turn the TV on. Anyway, no, but these batteries are obviously a major concern. So your mate, your man, Anchorman we'll call him, he came along and could hear something bubbling and said, "Get out of here, that's the batteries. Let's get down and get the fire extinguisher on it."
He did. As soon as he walked in, he said, "That's battery smell." And if you went over and listened to him, you couldn't. I went to touch one of them. It was red hot and it was gurgling inside. And he said, "Mate, please." He uncoupled them, and as we were lifting one of them out, the one that was remaining caught fire. And if he hadn't come for a cup of coffee, he just dropped over. He's a friend of Sue's, and if he hadn't come over, we would have been razed to the ground. We would have gone down with the ship.
Now, what's caused it? Do we have a forensic analysis?
I forensically analysed it and came to the conclusion that the battery was fucked. That was my in-depth analysis of it. He said they last about 3 years on a boat. I said,
I can't wait for you to appear in a coroner's court. Yes, Mr. Newman, your expert opinion on the battery. What was the problem with it?
Absolutely, it was cattle trucked. It was. That's yes. And the judge said, "What? That's rhyming slang, Mirror. I don't like to use the F word, but it's cattle trucked. See if you can work it out." So that was it. And so we owe our life, I think, probably to Mark, who doesn't realise he's saved our life, because if he does, he'd probably want money from us or something something. No, he wouldn't. I hope he's not listening to this. He's a very, very generous, good man, and he said, "I'm so delighted I was here." But
he has it. But you'd be very impressed with Sam Craig. He's really become a Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah.
Well, some of the videos, which again I'm enjoying thoroughly, Donna and I are really, really enjoying your adventures. But obviously, Sue, that now that he's discovered what a screwdriver actually does, apart from prizing open things, and he's got a toolkit that obviously is coming into use.
Yeah, ratchets. Ratchets in it, and
you're taking the head cover, the head off a Caterpillar engine.
Yeah, ratchet. What do you call the things that you put on the
gasket?
No, the things
nuts
that you put in the ratchet. What's that called? In the toolkit. They're all the different sockets. You put they put sockets in the ratchet, and they ratchet it off, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I can't believe this is the same bloke I've known for nearly 40 years.
but he's still a Mr. Klutz, Captain Klutz. I gotta say, even just before you came on, we did a little video just downstairs. He changed the light in one of the ceilings, right?
One of the downlights, yeah, and they're spring loaded. And I said, and I said, when you pull them out of the ceiling, I don't want to walk over your story here, Sue. When you pull them out of the ceiling, what they do is when you put them up, the spring comes out and stops them from falling back out of the ceiling. So what you've got to do is when you pull them out, make sure that you keep the spring loaded. You keep it upright, so when you pull it out, it doesn't spring back and bruise your thumb or take your nail off. So I'm bringing it out and I'm explaining this, and sure enough, my hand slipped off it and bang! As I look now, my thumbnail has gone black. Are you looking at that?
It has to. It's like a rat trap. It's like bang, and it's like I couldn't believe it.
I was just going to say because winter is well and truly with us now. We get the odd mouse in the house, and Donna has these very flash-looking mousetraps. They're a lot different than the ones that you and I and the three of us would have known when we were younger. But these are plastic and they are very, very lethal. And we put them behind various things so Rex the Wonder Dog doesn't want to try and have a little taste of the peanut butter that we put on there to entice said mice to have a little go. And one sprung on my thumb the other day, and my God, I feel sorry for the mouse. Oh my God, did it hurt?
Absolutely. I have a mouse trap where I live. It's called a cat. Have you ever thought of getting a cat, or would Rex the Wonder Dog rip its head off?
No, they probably get on quite well, but no, I think Rex is enough for us. We have our two llamas here as well now. Alpacas, not llamas. Have our alpacas here now. The menagerie is growing.
You've got an alpaca.
Got two of them.
A llama.
One's white and one's black.
Good God.
There's one called Al Pacino and the other's called Al Jolson.
Not many people will get that. I don't think. So now,
That's
Craig,
I've
just interviewed, had a chat to, I don't interview people, had a chat to the great Pat Rafter because Wimbledon is coming up to its final week. Now, I only bring this up because A, have you been watching Wimbledon? B, you are an integral part of Seven's coverage of tennis here in Australia for how many years?
25.
Yep, 25 years, and you spoke to the greats and everyone, and I'm sure you spoke to Pat, and I remember you telling us a great story about a great story about the man who, I cannot think of his name, the greatest player that you said, who?
Rod Laver?
No, how about this? I've just had a mental...
Roger
Yes,
Federer.
Mr. Federer. Yeah. Yes, and you told us the great story about you got on with him so well that there was a bit of a game to mention a word in any interview you did,
right,
and he would wait or you would wait for it to come out. Just tell us that again, and then I want to ask you a little about the people you spoke to during your journey, because I was interested because Pat Rafter was fantastic when we spoke to him. We hardly spoke to him about tennis, but just about him.
So with Roger, after a while, we sort of got to know each other quite well. He and his manager, Tony Godsick, who's married to Mary Jo Fernandez, who you'd remember was an outstanding player in her own right, would give me a word that I had to get into Roger's introduction on centre court, which meant absolutely nothing. The first year we did it, the word was Limeraya, which is High German for, like, the kids go cool or deadly, whatever.
And was Roger Federer in on it?
Oh, yes.
Yes,
yeah. He gave me the word.
Oh, I see.
So we had the Limeraya Open. And he won the Limeraya. And the chair umpires, they went, "How the hell is the Limeraya?" Anyway, the last time that we did this, he had a bloke doing his massage who was from Wonthaggi, the country town in Victoria. And the word he gave me was Wonthaggi. I thought, oh, great. So I have then worked it into his introduction by saying in 2014, he won here, he won there, he won Thaggy. Which I thought was terribly bloody clever.
Yeah, it is.
So he's picked it up and he's looked at me and he starts laughing on the court. And Roger has that sort of laugh. And John Blom was the chair umpire, and John Blom turned around and looked at me and went, "Is he all right?" I said, "I'll tell you later." And during the warm-up, he couldn't stop laughing. Anyway, we got through that one. So that was a little thing that I used to do with one of the best blokes you could meet, and of course one of the greatest players of the modern era.
It's a bit like the bloke was asked at a night. Bloke was asked, "Could you get Timbuktu into could you make up a rhyme?" And he said, "I've had some great experiences on my way through to the great city of Timbuktu." And the bloke said, "That's very, very good." He said to the bloke from the country, he said, "What do you reckon?" He said, "Well," he said, I reckon," he said, "Tim and I went and found 3 Sheilas in a tent, and not quite knowing what to do, I buck one and Tim buck 2.
That is the oldest. That is written in Latin.
I know.
But if you want to do it up a bit better, just say the bloke from the private school who wrote the poem.
That's right.
It's men and camels 2 by 2. Destination Timbuktu.
Yeah, God.
Me and Tim a hunting went. Met 3 girls at a pop-up tent. They was 3 and we was 2. You know the tagline.
Yeah, no.
So, Pat Rafter, I bet you Pat didn't tell you the story. Oh, God. About the boys, a big family. They were in their car once, or I think it was a Toyota Land Cruiser or something. Their father had to buy one of those troop carriers. And Pat and one of his brothers were mooning the car behind them.
Oh, really?
And Jim is as straight as the Indian Pacific Railway. He's a beautiful man. And he found out about it because the bloke behind was somebody that Jim knew. And I think next time Pat's backside appeared in public, it was covered with welts from his old man giving him a whack across the arm.
No, I didn't.
No, he's a champion bloke.
He is.
Very good player. We forget to, he was an Australian Open doubles player.
He was.
With Jonas Bjorkman, he won the men's doubles title. I've got a great photo of the 3 of us, me holding the trophy, of course.
Yeah.
But Patrick is a lovely fella, and we've got on so well with him and his mum, Joss, and the whole family is just terrific. I'll tell you another story about it. So I got invited to be the court announcer at what was the equivalent, if you like, of tennis's IPL, which was being staged by an Indian group. So there was people who had bought themes, and we had players of Leighton Hewitt, Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer. We had Anna Ivanovic. We had, bear with me, Carlos Moya.
Yep.
We had a whole group of players, Andre Agassi, Serena Williams, but Andy Murray, and Maria Sharapova. So not all of them came on the tour, but the first one was in Manila, where Sharapova and Murray were the headline acts. And then we went to Singapore, where we had Andre Agassi and Serena Williams as the headline acts, and then to New Delhi, and we had Djokovic and Federer there. So you can imagine it was all mayhem and all hell broke loose. But we had consistent players like Pat Rafter and Leighton on all four of the stopovers. We finished in Dubai. The night before the final day, they had a party in one of these flash Dubai hotels. And Pat said to me, "Are you going?" I said, "No, I'll be the oldest bloke in the disco." He said, "No, you won't be. Carlos Moyer's going." Anyway, we went to the disco, and it was that noisy. And I'm saying, "Oh, God, I don't think I can stand this." And didn't have a drink or anything. Anyway, one of the team owners, whose father owns the biggest mobile phone business in India, so we're talking billionaire.
Yep.
He says, "Come over and have a drink. Come and have a drink." And he had this huge bottle of, is it Grey Goose vodka?
Yep.
Sitting in a big ice bucket. And had his own little roped off area. And he said, "Yeah, come and have a drink." And he had caviar. And Pat said, "Oh, we've been doing the right thing." He's the bloke that owns the team I'm playing for. So we went and I don't drink vodka, but had a little sip. Anyway, we saw the account coming over, which was coming over every hour, 10,000 US.
Yep.
And I said to Pat, "I think we're out of our league here." And Patrick looked at me and said, "Do you think we could just sneak out?" And I said, "Well, we did," which we did. But, it was very funny, like a completely different world than what I've ever known. And I think it's a different world than what he's ever known. And of course, he's now living at the back of Byron Bay.
He is. He's on an estate out there, and he's planted a whole lot of trees. He's trying to create a koala corridor, he tells us.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, but he used to ring me and say, "What's the best tractor to
Did
buy?"
he?
And I said, a Kubota. He knows I've got my place up here.
I hope you get one for nothing.
Kubota.
I hope you get one for nothing after you've said that.
No, I've had it for some years and I absolutely love it. So he would ring me and say, "What's the best tractor? What's the best this? The best with the snipper and all that?" Because he got no idea. But now he does have, and he's got a little bobcat thing that he bogged. He sent me a photo of it. But he's just a charming bloke and a champion tennis player. As we know.
Suzanne just tells me that the generator that broke down is a Kubota. So,
there's a Toyota of machinery. That's the way I look at it.
Maybe if you say it a few more times, they might even one might just land up at the marina.
Tell me, the generator, does that do everything on the boat? Or does it generate when you're not tied up at the pier?
Yep, it's when it's not on shore power, it powers the boat. That's right. So it powers all the. If you want to have it powers the refrigerators and the air conditioners and anything that requires 240-volt power, it barbecues, all that, stove. So that's what it does. But it's gone out on sick leave at the minute, and so we're
the word vital comes to mind, doesn't it?
Yeah,
vital.
Yes. So
have you got a man in Mackay? You got someone to fix it?
Sam fixed it.
I replaced the what's it called? The impeller, which is a thing that spins around, and I don't know what it does.
And you tested the
but
thermostat,
we looked up the manual, and I disconnected. I took off.
It's working.
It's working at the minute.
Good.
It's working but it's not working at the minute because we're short. We're tied up because most of the things in the boat are not working. That's why we're tied up. Normally we'd be out. Anyhow,
I was just about to fly down to Melbourne and get on a plane and come up there and Kubota it for you.
So I hope the Kubota people are listening.
To get the name in there.
Now I want to ask you two questions. I don't know where I'm out of the loop. I suppose I could watch it, but it's pretty hard to get free to air for some reason. Free to air television up here on the boat. We've got an aerial and we've got a satellite dish, but it only gets.
No, we get the free to air up here on the Foxtel in the cabin, but it's in your bedroom that you don't get free to air.
Yes. Sue has her bedroom, and I
get free to air.
Yeah, that's so. So Craig, I want to know: have you been watching Dancing with the Stars? I only ask you this because I do you. So they said, what I'm asking you is, there's a lot of criticism, not from this quarter here, but Ben Cousins. They said, why is he on? Why does he get a second and a third chance because he takes drugs? And why does then someone got put off? Ant Middleton apparently got put off because he said BLM was a disgraceful organisation, which I agree with, a domestic terror organisation, BLM. And then he got put off because there's a group called, I'm not making this up, but there's a group called, it's called Mad Fucking Witches, and they now buttonhole the advertisers, and they get people like Myer and AAMI and Bunnings and Samsung. This is what they say in Hamilton Island. They have denied, those organisations have denied the fact that they won't sponsor shows that have those people on it because, that's how they try and boycott it. I suffered the same thing with the footy show. People didn't want to advertise because I was on the footy show. And so I was just wondering, how does someone like, Nadia Bartels, to me, I think she became notorious because she was caught snorting coke off a...
allegedly, but she was married to a footballer.
No, not allegedly. I've seen the film of her doing it.
Okay.
I can send you...
I don't know what the white powder was, but...
No, but
she's on there because she's an influencer and she was married to Jimmy.
Yes.
End of story. Who cares? I have no idea why she is on the program. I do know why Ben Cousins is on the program, and I think it's fantastic.
So do I.
See somebody who's been through that much shit and ingested a lot of shit into himself to be able to bounce back and look as good as he does and be as personable, and he is a personable bloke. I think it's fantastic to see him on a show like that.
Well, and absolutely. And what I was getting on about Nadia, who gives a stuff if she was, someone took a camera shot, a phone shot of her when they shouldn't be doing it and posted it on the social platforms. Who gives a stuff that she was...
John.
Yes.
208. I sit here and I watch the promos because the promo for Dancing with the Stars has had my big head on it when Shane's that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's fine. But when they say coming up on Dancing with the Stars and they put all these names up, I look at Donna and I go, who?
Yes. Which
you
was...
with me? I go,
I am.
Who is that? Who is that? And we go, the lady who's the cook who was on MasterChef or My Kitchen. Oh, that's fine. I like the bloke from Better Homes and Gardens, the fellow that does the carpentry and the building. I think he's pretty good. He's a lively character. Shane Crawford, I think he's been on it before. And Shane's a great guy, and very smart, intelligent, does a lot of great work away from the camera. Fantastic. But some of them, I'm going, who the hell are these people?
Well, I wasn't, it sounded like I was being disrespectful to Nadia Bartels, but it sounds,
not at all.
But I'm just saying.
I don't know why she's there.
Well, why is she there? Because she became famous or infamous for doing that. And, and yet
because she was married to Jimmy. That was all it was.
Yeah, and people
Yep. Sue, what's an influencer?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. They just want people who have got lots of followers on their Instagrams or their social medias, so that then that promotes.
Seems to be the way you get a job in the media these days.
Exactly, that's the only reason. Which goes, I reckon we've got bets on with the Logies as well. I
was just talk about people that you've not heard of. I had this discussion with Doug Hawkins last week, but I'll get on to that in a minute. But So someone like Wayne Carey, who was who was had a bag of white powder over in the casino over in Perth. He lost every job. He had on the radio, the television, in the news, in the print magazines, because maybe some said it was because he had just an occasion of domestic violence with his girlfriend, but I think it was primarily because he was caught at the casino table with a bag of something in his pocket. He lost every job he had and still can't get a job because people say, why would you give a drudder or someone who's... I'll tell you what, it's just... It's extraordinary, and he was a very good analyst on the football. And if you want good analysts on football, there's plenty of people who have transgressed that are doing all sorts of jobs. And it just seems, and that's the only reason I mentioned Nadia. Good on her, good luck to her, but I'm sure it's only because that she had sort of this infamous incident where it went round.
We'll agree to disagree on that. I think it's because she was married to Jimmy. She's got some fashion label too. Stanley OAM may know more about that. But she was an influencer who has, for some unknown reason, god-awful amount of people who follow her on whatever it's called, Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right. So then, so Doug mentioned this last week about the Logies. I don't know if you have any interest.
Oh, God.
So he mentioned... So he mentioned these are the people up for a gold Logie, Craig. Judy? What's her name? Julia Morris. Andy Lee.
From Get Me Out. Yeah, well, I voted for Andy.
You voted?
I voted for Andy.
Good on you. How do you do that?
My friend.
How do you do
it through the TV week thing.
This will explain the next thing. There's Sue's on the... So, Larry Emder.
The Chase and 1,000 other shows, and a great bloke and a very professional television performer of many years standing. Next.
Ash Keddy.
Outstanding actor.
Who? You've heard of Ash Keddy, have you? I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, I certainly have.
Now,
he's in a new show with David Wenham, of all things. There you go.
Well, you're right up. And so this is to Sue's point. Now, Rob Irwin, who is Steve Irwin's son, the late Steve Irwin's son. And
this will get me into trouble with Donna. Go on.
And Sue says he'd be there because he has an incredible amount of
followers on. He's a real Instagram.
But he's been on television for about 5 minutes compared to everyone else that's nominated for a gold.
Yes, but it's going to be interesting. So let's
that's
see.
the point. He will probably. Doug thinks. Hang on, I haven't got to who Doug thinks will win, but he thinks many think he'll win because he has so many followers on it, and all the young kids just will vote like you voted for your friend. They will vote for him, and you make the very good point. He's been there for a minute as opposed to all the others. So what qualifies anyone to win it? And we'll just finish. Then there's Tony Armstrong. Tony Armstrong, who is again
another 5-minute performer on the ABC.
Yeah, and then Sonia Kruger. Oh yes, go on.
He's
Tony
been around for 1,000 years.
Tony has.
Tony what?
Tony Armstrong.
Well, he's been on for about 5 minutes.
Yep, and then who did you say has been around for 1,000 years? Sonia
Kruger. Yeah.
Well, Doug,
you've got to admire her. She's a great performer. Great performer.
Is she? I don't say that facetiously. I don't.
She's Dancing with the Stars. She's on The Voice, and has been on countless other shows. I think she was on. Sue, you'll know this. Big Brother, one of the original.
She's a good talent.
Big Brothers.
She's a good Australian talent.
She's a very good talent. What annoys me about this is Robert Irwin and Tony. What's his name?
Armstrong.
They've been on television for Armstrong. They've been on television for 5 minutes compared to people like Larry Emder and people like Andy Lee and Sonia Kruger and et al., et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Gold Logie is the pinnacle of anyone's television career. But how can you? It is beyond me. I'm sorry.
But it depends on if they want
a whole range of programs. Sorry, Sue.
It's going to be interesting, though, the decision, whatever way it goes. And I probably think that Sonia Kruger is probably the pick, and this is just a tongue-in-cheek. I'm going Robert Irwin because I think that the strategy behind the people behind the Logies, they're going to want young people following the Logies and grow that young generation to the Logies. So that's what they probably have a really good influence there.
So when Rob Irwin wins it, to Craig, you can say, "My God!" It's a bit like the Brownlow medal. It's a bit like
Donna's a big fan. She's a big fan of his, and that's fine. We've been to Australia Zoo, and he was there. And Donna has met him over the years, and he's a very nice, personable young bloke. But for a gold Logie, not quite ready, in my humble opinion. The other thing that I did vote for is the favourite travel program, Postcards, with Rebecca,
Judd?
with Janetta.
Oh,
No. Janetta Stone and Kevin Maloney. Janetta and Kevin are old, dear friends of mine, and they're on that show. And they are very funny. They're the snobby couple that do the travelling. So I got to vote for them as well. So there you go. So yeah, Sue, I'm not on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it's called. I wouldn't know how many followers Robert Irwin's got, but I do know what I like when I see television, and I like Andy Lee on television. I think he's very clever, and he is a friend. And I like Janetta and Kevin when they travel, and I like Better Homes and Gardens. I don't watch Home and Away. Can I tell you a funny story?
please.
I compared Leighton Hewitt's wedding, right, to Beck. And it was in Sydney, at Taronga Zoo. And I got there.
Why are you whispering?
And I looked around. I had no idea who all the people from Home and Away were, except for Ray. I think that's his name.
Ray who?
I don't know, the bloke that's been there since it started. He just celebrated his 80th birthday. He's the only one I knew out of all the people on there. I had no idea.
But you've spoken to plenty of you've spoken about this is the beauty of being an MC working without cue cards like Joe Biden, who has to have cue cards to tell him where to walk. Walk down that way and turn left, and that's where the podium is. But that's why you're a star, because you do it off the top of your head and you schmooze them.
I had no idea who these people are. So it's a bit like the Logie list sometimes, and indeed when I see the promo for Dancing with the Stars, I sit there and I go, dear, I've got no idea who these people are.
So
it's like Wimbledon. It's like Wimbledon, John. You watch Wimbledon now. I have got no idea who some of these players are.
Well,
absolutely no idea. I've never heard of them.
Well, that's what I said to Pat. I'm going to want to speak to you about, Wimbledon because it's coming up. He said, please. He said, I have no idea what's going on at Wimbledon. I said, well, we won't speak about tennis. I'll speak about you. So,
fair enough.
So listen to this. This is Sue here. Listen.
Robert Irwin has 5.8 million followers.
Just shy of your number of Sue. Is that right?
I'm not on Instagram. But Julia Morris. You look at someone like Julia Morris. She's got 305,000 followers. And who else are we going to look at?
So if you get half those people who follow Robert Irwin, he's in with a leg tied behind his back. He'll win in a canter.
Now the reason that he has so many followers is that they just keep looking to see if he actually does get eaten by a crocodile. I'm joking when I say that. I am joking when I say that.
Well, Andy Lee's got 409,000 followers. So that's a massive distance, 5.9 million followers. That's massive.
There are people who get jobs on radio because apparently they have a lot of Instagram followers. That's the way they
because the ratings would go up, absolutely.
So speaking of people who...
Looking at the ratings, are terrible. Go on.
Yes, speaking of people who work on radio. Now, the great...
Dr. Ben.
Yep.
In Sydney, numero uno.
Is he?
Number 1, 2GB.
Well, isn't it extraordinary? He comes on this pissy little thing every fortnight.
Yeah, I know, and he loves it. And he is the number one man in Sydney now on 2GB on the breakfast shift.
Well, he'll be on another holiday.
I think.
He's never come. He's meant to come on every other week, but usually he's on holidays. It must be performance based. The more number ones you get, the more time he gets off.
No, they take school holidays off. You see, so a lot of radio performers, Ross and Russ, have been away for a couple of weeks. So the survey ends, and then it's a non-survey period, so they get to have a bit of a holiday. And then they come back for the next survey. So the great Kyle and Jackie O, they've got beaten by just about everyone. 5.9 was their rating. Nova, 9.6. Gold, 10.4. Russ and Ross,
19 or just under, shy of 19. The ABC had its worst ratings ever and went up by one percentage point. Yes, and rightly so. So what do you think? What do Kyle and Jackie O? How's that experiment going?
It's gutter radio, to be honest. Some of the things that they discuss. Look, they're very clever. It's all about marketing. Sue, you'd agree with this, and you understand what I'm saying. That it's all about the marketing of these two. As they're salacious, they talk about things which on air, which would be taboo. You know, when I started back on the wireless in 1973, right? 2SM in Sydney edited out the word Christ from the song by the Beatles, Christ, you know it ain't easy.
Yep.
Because it was deemed to be naughty. When I worked in Wagga, there was a great song by Kevin Johnson, the Australian singer-songwriter, called Over the Hill and Far Away. It had the word hell in it. What the hell would he know? We weren't allowed to play that because it was deemed to be inappropriate. Now, oh my hat and soul, the things that you hear on air, that you can do it on a podcast, that's fine, but on air, no.
Well,
and they talk about private parts. Yeah, so it is gutter radio. There you go. But it has a market.
But
it has a market amongst the great unwashed.
Well, it hasn't got a market at the minute down at down in Australia. So this is how far I think. Pat Rafter said because there was a history of criminality in his family. I'm not saying that was on Who Do You Think You Are? And he said, yeah. He said his great grandfather. Yeah, he said, and he said he was put in jail for using profanity to wit. Bloody bugger and damn rascal. Bloody bugger and damn rascal.
Jailable. Yeah.
I said the Pope uses that in everyday speech these days. Now, I thought you might have been over in Finland just recently because an Australian couple won. Did you see this? Won the
No.
Just a minute. Let me find where I've written this down. Won the wife carrying competition over there. Just let me find out where I've written this fucking thing down. They won. An Australian couple won the wife carrying competition. I don't know if it was weight. I don't know if there was a weight penalty for people but they won that, and they carrying your wife over a certain distance. Where in the bloody hell have I written that down? Weight handicap event. It wasn't a weight handicap. A wife carrying competition run in Finland. An Australian couple won it. I thought you and Donna might have gone over and represented Victoria over there next year, maybe.
Well, I was ready to go, but she had to go to work. I think that's what it was.
Well, get into some training because you and Donna can go into this. The 2024 Australian wife carrying titles are held on the 28th of September, so you've got time to do that. So, and that's in Singleton at the Singleton Showground.
And Craig, you've got plenty of time for her to go on a diet. Not that she needs to go on a diet. No, Craig, please.
I do.
No,
but,
not that.
Started back in 1992. This sport.
Yeah, but you don't have to go on a diet. You got a carrier. So if you can just get it down to get it to be anorexic just for the tournament, you win it. You win it as I say with a leg in the air.
I wonder if wife swapping's allowed.
I'm just reading the rules here. Okay, the length of the track is 253.5 metres. There are 2 dry obstacles and a water obstacle about 1 metre deep. The wife to be carried may be your own or the neighbour's, or you may have found her further afield. The wife must, however, be over 17. The wife is a gender-free term that is used over the carried person. They changed the rules in February 2023. Now, the minimum weight for the wife to be carried is 49 kilograms. If she weighs less, she'll be burdened with a rucksack containing additional weight to bring the total up to 49. It sounds like a jockey, doesn't it? Claiming 3 kilos.
It does. So it's pretty.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Reading this nonsense.
It's pretty discriminatory, Craig. No, if you're a porker, you've got no chance of taking the buttered confection.
Oh, hang on.
Have
There's
a
one
look at
bloke
this.
here called-
Inflatable wives will be disqualified.
Geez, that's less half the population up here out. Some bloke called Tasto Metanen, I think, has won it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. There you go. And he's from Finland. So, with the wife, is it nearly as bad? I don't know if you saw it in the news the other night. The hot dog eating contest in New York. I think it's held on Coney Island.
Yep.
Did you see that on the news?
I've seen it. What was the...
the bloke ate 58 hot dogs in a minute or something.
It's
really sick looking at it.
It is. It's and well, to have a competition that promotes gluttony in this day and age, it's all those sort of things. I see people are warning for the risk of injury of strangling your partner during sex. You know, a bit like what's the boy Hutchins' name who
In excess.
in excess. He tied a necktie around his neck and while he was having sex.
It's called autoeroticism or something.
Yeah, so you nearly strangle your partner while you're having sex, and it enhances the climax as if you'd need any enhancement.
I must listen to Kyle and Jackie. Yeah, that could be a topic they're going to cover. Now, the Nathan's hot dog eating contest is on Coney Island in Brooklyn, in New York City. So, yeah, the guy ate 58 hot dogs. The defending women's champion is Miki Sudo, who ate 51 hot dogs this year in a minute or something. I don't even like hot dogs that much.
Now, Sue spotted this in the tissues. Tell her about the beaches. There's a law coming out. They're trying to bring a law in about
one of the councils, at the community pool. So you get they're actually trying to ban the G-string.
Women wearing G-strings.
Now, it's not on the beach. It's in the street.
It's in the community. No, it's in the actually community pool. So when you go to your local pool.
Yeah. Oh, in the pool. I'm sorry. Well, I understood it on the Gold Coast. They were trying to ban the G-string in the public areas, the shopping centre like Cavill Avenue and all that.
Well, people wearing G-strings while they're shopping.
Yeah, in Coles.
What with the what with the?
Have you ever been to Byron Bay, John?
And walked into Coles and have a woman in front of you with a G-string on and nothing else?
It's happened.
What, with the minge there on full display and the buns?
Oh, I didn't say that. It could be the bottom, not the front bit.
The bottom?
Yeah. All right. No. But, the G-string doesn't help me here. That covers the front bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does.
It does.
Yeah. Well, so it's just your rear end hanging out the back.
Well,
Which in some cases ain't all that attractive, I might add.
That's the point. I think they're saying it's all right if you're svelte and look reasonably in shape, but you can be genuinely off-putting if you see some people, men and women alike, in budgie
correct.
Smugglers. What about the
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I used to wear budgie smugglers, and I was a bit ashamed because I'm not all that thinner down the front there. And a bloke said, "Put a pair of socks down there," and I tried that. He said, "Next time, put them down the front."
Dear. All right. Well,
Sorry.
now, we're being. So I see the council. This is just to find this. You probably agree with this that they're trying to ban commercial trade on Anzac Day next year or whenever it comes because they said it's become too commercialised. So is this just telling? I suppose that's fair enough, is it or not?
I am a huge advocate for Anzac Day, as I have a number of relatives. I have a great uncle buried at the Adelaide Cemetery, which is just before Villers-Bretonneux. My grandfather fought in the First World War as a gunner and was repatriated. That's how my farm got its name. He had a shell land on his foot and he got repatriated back to the UK and was then put after hospital, into a home near Lord's Cricket Ground. the name of that house was Otterburn, which is a town in the north of England. And he called his house in Sydney Otterburn, and that's what I called my farm. So
Your farm is called Otterburn.
That's correct. The Otterburn Pastoral Company.
Oh, my word.
So there you go. That's the history. So, both my parents served in the Australian Army. Dad was a captain at Brigade Headquarters in New Guinea, and my mother, very proudly, was in the AWAS, the Australian Women's Army Service, the lay contingent, who went to New Guinea. So she was a returned service woman in her own right, a corporal in the Australian Army. And I know Donna has a very proud history of her family serving. And the way I look at it, that Anzac Day really is our national day. Don't worry about Australia Day. That's Australia Day back 1788. I'm not going to enter that argument. But today, I think Anzac Day is our national day. And that's the way I look at it. And
probably why we're here. Probably because that's why we're here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's always, you're not allowed to charge admission, I think, to an event before 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock on Anzac Day.
They want to ban. They want to ban music festivals. They want to ban everything.
Except for sport.
Except for sports. Who says?
Right.
Yep.
AFL can play the matches on the go, but you could ban everything else, shopping, everything.
Well, maybe even close the shopping centres. But look, you're not going to force people to observe Anzac Day. You're never going to be able to do that. And some people go, so it's a day off. That's the way some people, sadly, would look at it. But I think we need to engender, and I think we're seeing it in the younger generation, a respect for what Anzac Day actually stands for. And it's not just about Gallipoli. It's about the Australian people who gave their lives in all theatres.
And the New Zealanders.
I think that's important. And New Zealanders, of course.
Hence the acronym.
I really love the New Zealand national anthem.
What is it?
It's just fantastic.
Is that the haka?
God defend New Zealand. And it's done in Maori and then in English, and it's just fabulous. It's got a lovely tune to it, unlike ours. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Well, now look, they're very good thoughts, all of them, every one of them, and I don't think we've left. I've tried to find as many things as I can ask you about, because you're a sage, you're a man, a sage advice you give.
I wouldn't go that far, but I just love doing this. You know that I love doing this stuff with you two, and Greg. I've been talking to Greg Evans. He's still up in Darwin eating. Every time he sends me a message, it's just finished another kilo of prawns. It's going to look like a prawn when he gets back. We enjoy it.
All right, now I was just going to mention this when you hang up, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it now, and then we'll wind this up. I just had to give a shout out to, this is from Michael Christian, menswear.com. Someone wrote in and said, why does Michael Christian, who he obviously thought he was the Michael Christian from the AFL, the AFL review officer, match review officer, he said, why does Michael Christian get money out of selling caps for you on You Cannot Be Serious? I said, it's the wrong Michael Christian. Michael Christian, menswear.com is in Tasmania, and he wanted me to give a shout out to, he just wanted me to give a shout out to Fiona McKenzie, who is obviously a single woman, because she comes from Tarneet in Victoria, and she wears one of the Smartest Sam t-shirts to bed because it keeps her warm. So she's obviously a single woman, and she has wearing the Smartest Sam t-shirt, and you can buy the Doug Hawkins and Sam Newman signature caps from Michael Christian Menswear.com if you want to wear them. He can't keep up with the demand, he tells me, but apparently he just keeps reordering, and they keep sending him over from the sweatshops in Indonesia, and where they're all made, along with the Nike and Adidas and all the clothing companies get all this stuff over there. It doesn't matter how you top and tail it, that's where they come from. And so we're just giving a shout out to Fee McKenzie, who is single. I'm tipping she's single if she's wearing my T-shirt to bed to keep her warm.
Either that or she has a very understanding partner.
Craig, and so do you. And all the best to you and Donna. And thank you,
mate.
so much again. And we'll sign off with our signature ending tune from, who is it, Daddy Cool? Pardon?
Sue.
Yep.
Stanley, OAM.
Sue Stanley.
Sue, I'm just admiring you so much. You know I've always admired you, but the shit that you're putting up with this man is absolutely outstanding. That's all I can say. You know I love him like a brother.
Yeah.
But, you've gone from gold to platinum.
Oh, maybe I should be nominated for the Logies.
Anytime you like, you'll be getting my vote. How you're putting up with it is beyond us. But
it is an adventure.
Keep up the good work.
Good on you, mate. All the best.
All right.
To you and Donna.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.